translation, bridge the gap. Communication so real, no cap. A different language for woman and man. Decode the language and you'll understand. Nah, it'll help you out. Rest assured, women have no doubt. Pillow talk, dinner talk. Give you the info to walk the walk. Now, sometimes it's a foreign language. Now know what's up, don't mistake it. This'll help you every situation. Empower yourself, it's liberating, yeah. Communication, don't need no speculation. Just get that clarification, then reconciliation. Man translation, yeah. Man translation, yeah.
I was over here jamming to our song. What's up, people? Welcome to another Sunday. Welcome to Man Translation. What's up, y'all? How was y'all week? I hope y'all had a fantastic week. I hope that y'all day was amazing. My day is amazing. I make sure I have amazing days. Okay, I'm in control of how my day is gonna go. All right. So we are here again for another Sunday. We are here to bridge the gap in communication. There's some crazy stuff going on in the world. Let me tell you something. Ever since they opened up them borders, oh my God, there's so much crime here in Texas. Like normally the crime it stays on the south side. I live on the north side. Yeah, they done inch their way up here. And you know what's dangerous? Starting to become very dangerous, ladies. Want you to watch out. Gas stations. Gas stations are becoming extremely dangerous. They are waiting and laying wait at people. People getting kidnapped, snatched, and everything else. So be really careful. So here we're going to be talking about the power of perception today. We're going to be talking about this. We want to take a deep dive. We kind of touch on it a little bit, but we really want to talk about it a little bit more. I'm Sky C, and this is Dante V, our resident communication and relationship strategist, because we need strategies in relationships to make sure everything goes smooth. That's why compatibility is so important. I get so tired of hearing people say relationships is hard, it takes work. If you're in a relationship with somebody and it's that hard, maybe that's not the person you're supposed to be with. I'm just lying.
No, that's exactly what it comes down to because relationships are not hard. People complicate things the way more than what they should. They ain't it. Now, granted, I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but it shouldn't be damn difficult. Every day you look up, she here again. He here again. It's just, no. It shouldn't be that difficult. You're going to have some trying times. You might have some struggles, but yeah, it's two people versus one problem. Look at it that way and change your perspective.
You guys are going to have to start liking and sharing these videos because as I'm walking down these internet streets and looking at these other shows, nobody is bringing you cutting edge information that's transforming your lives. I really want to come here to put something on your mind just to really make you think. I think people really walk through life a lot not thinking, or they so burnt out that they just go with the flow. They tired of arguing. You just want to argue. You know what I'm saying? So they just tired of arguing. Just whatever it is, just going with it. So I just really, y'all need to start liking and sharing. We got to get our numbers up on our YouTube channel. We need at least 5,000. So don't make me work this hard. Y'all making me work too hard, okay? So, because I really want to bring this to y'all. I really don't want to cancel the show. But these shows are all about numbers. And we have to get to a place where we don't just want to eat negative things. We got to change our palate.
Right.
Get a more expensive, get a more, mature, a more sophisticated palate. Stop eating junk. Stop eating gossip and all of that. Eat something with a little bit more, you know what I'm saying, kick to it. You know what I mean? Something that's going to make you grow. You know what I mean? Something that when it goes through your body, it's not going to make it lumpy. You won't be lumpy. You know what I'm saying? You be nice and smooth. You eat your vegetables. Might not taste good all the time, but it's good for you. This show is good for you. So, the power of perception, Dante.
Ooh.
This is a conversation that Dante and Dante is my son, for all of you that do not know. That's another unique thing about this show. We are mother and son. We have a really healthy relationship. In the beginning, when we were reconciling, we like talked all the time. We were on the phone for 2 and 3 hours talking and talking. Now, we don't even talk that much. Like in
Nah.
between, we don't even talk that much because the relationship is in a strong place. So we don't have to talk that much. See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? It's not hard.
You got
Once
to
you
do the
do
work in the beginning. You definitely have to do the work in
right,
the beginning.
then after a while, it should get easy. It shouldn't get
It should
hard.
flow.
It should flow. But this was a powwow. This was a powwow conversation that we had to have, and
Oh
it kind
yes.
of went on for about 2 good conversations. And then I had to pray. I said, God, I can't let go of this one because this is what you taught me. This is not my opinion. This is what you taught me.
Mhm.
So open up his eyes so that he can see. And so one day he called me and he said, Mom, I was like, Dante. Because perception, everybody thinks that their perception is the whole truth. Let's just say that your perception is the whole truth. Your perception is your point of view. It is
It's just
only
your point of view.
true to you. It's only true to you. So Dante, share with them in detail what, because perception is very powerful, and
Oh yes,
perception
it is.
can either make a relationship better or it can make a relationship worse. So he called. We were talking one day, and he was like, "Mom, tell them what you told me, Dante. That changed your perception." I wasn't going to really
It
try
was
to
a.
change perception. It was that I just had to share the truth with him.
You talking about the movie?
Yeah, you were telling me about the movie because it's like sometimes you when you see something you and the other person don't see it, you can't communicate it to them in a way that they can see. So sometimes
Right.
they have to something has to happen for their perception to change. So he told me about this movie. I had totally forgot about the movie.
Because I mean, for me, I only watched movies once, but it was like, okay, I get it. So the movie is actually called Vantage Point, and when I watched the movie, I actually hated it because I think the whole thing was it was like 11:59, whatever the time it was. It shows you one person's point of view from that time. Basically, something about somebody getting shot. And
Yeah.
one person saw what happened, that person getting shot, and then they go through a series of events, and they go back to 11:59, and they show another person's point of view until
Mhm.
you got the entire story.
Yes, sir.
Although that one person saw one thing, and in their mind, okay, because generally what we see is our truth,
Hmm.
but there's other parts of that view, that perspective that go into play so you can get the entire story. And that's really what the movie was about.
Yeah.
Although the one person saw, other people saw other things that happened around that event that
Hmm.
tied into that same thing. It's
Hmm.
almost like, and I'm going to take you back a little old school. Remember TGIF, the actual movie series, not the TV series, where it was Family Matters, it was the Step House or whatever. It was like a series of shows, and all they always had one episode in there where one person said one thing, another person says another, but then at the end of the show, they put the two perspectives together and they tell you what really happened. Which sometimes it's part of this person's story, part of that person's story, and then we come together. Same thing when you go to court. Plaintiff defendant. The judge don't know neither one of these sides. So if he has to take one perspective and another perspective, he has to join together. Okay, what really happened based on the evidence and the truth that's there. I mean, you go through.
Based on the evidence.
Yes, based on everything that's there at that time, and that's what they make the determination off. Okay, so here's what happened. I can tell who's lying based off of okay, this don't even seem logical or seem right. There's that. And to come to perspective, me and my mom, there was a lot of here's how I saw it as a child. And here she is, of course, as the parent saying, all right, well, this is what happened. And of course, there's back and forth on, well, because my thing was, well, this happened to me. It didn't happen to you. I had to live this. But what I'm living is based off what I know, limited knowledge as a child, 12, 13, 14 years old, how just this is just unfair. You don't even have a piece or a part of the story. And a lot of us go through life holding on to that smidge and not even wanting to gain the rest of the conversation or get the truth because, again, what you feel as though you went through as a child, I don't need to get any more perspective. And you do. Because, again, like my mom said, we talked for days, for hours, just getting everything out on the table. Whether she thought she knew or I thought I knew, let's throw it out there anyway. And it was like, what? At that point, what I knew of my mother, I had no clue. So learning who my mother was as a mom and also as a person. Granted, it didn't happen until I was what, like 30, 33. It happened a while ago. I'm 37, but it happened a while ago. But it was also one of the things that needed to happen in order for our relationship to grow. Because we're not going to just go with the flow. We both don't believe in walking on eggshells. If something needs to be said, we're going to say it. Gain that understanding so we can move forward. Now, again, the whole thing about that whole ordeal was my mom knows, just like I know, we don't have to agree. That is the main thing you have to take away from any conversation. We don't have to agree. Your role as a mom is still going to be that. My role as a son is still going to be that. Ain't no hatred, ain't no animosity, but we're going to get some understanding. I understand where you're coming from. I don't have to agree with that, but I understand.
So you said a lot of key things. One of the things you said was limited knowledge. Your perception is limited knowledge. It is limited knowledge. So we always kind of start out the show and we do a definition. So perception is the ability to see, hear, or become aware by using your senses. So when we get into the area of our senses, our smell, our sight, our hearing, our touch, you know, if your senses are skewed, and how do your senses become skewed? It becomes skewed by your experiences. It
Uh-huh.
becomes skewed by your comprehension. We don't all comprehend the same. We don't all
No, no.
comprehend at the same rate. These are like the dynamics of a relationship. These things can all be skewed. And so anytime you are dealing with a perception, you have to understand that it is something that is not really been proven. It is simply your point of view. It's your point
Mhm.
of view. It is your truth. So I think that when Dante and I were having the exchange, I had to explain to him, I'm not trying to say to you what happened to you didn't happen.
Right.
I'm not trying to take away from you what happened to what you saying that's happened. I'm trying to get you to understand that what happened to you may have happened, but there's a bigger picture and there's more parts and there's more things that you haven't seen and more things that you haven't heard. Your information
Uh-huh.
is limited, and that's what happens when you assume. You assume without proof. And I think the
Yeah.
reason why this show came about was because when Dante said, well, grandmothers treat their grandchildren better than they treat their children, you have no proof of that. And not only do you not have any proof, you can't prove it. So I started thinking, like, man, no wonder these are all barriers in your relationship. These are all walls that you put up when you assume based on your perception of how you see things. You have no idea to know whether that statement is true or not. You have no proof. And we go relationships and we make assumptions. People make assumptions all the time based on their perception. And they never sit down and talk about what I learned was I did not realize that my actions were being perceived a certain way as his mother. If you don't come and tell me as your mother, I have no idea.
Right.
Because I'm making decisions based on information that you don't have. I'm making decisions based on information that you're not even privy of. And this happens whether you at work or not. You ever been on your job and a memo comes across and you read the memo, you be like, these people is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Like, why are they doing this?
All the time.
It's based on some information you don't have.
Day.
Like, it's based on information. You wasn't at the meeting. You don't know what's coming down the pipe. You don't know why they made that. You know what I'm saying? It's like the military. You get information on a need to know basis.
And majority of the time, when you need to know, you still ain't gonna know. Just go on and just do it.
So that means that the information comes on levels. When you're a child, your parent is not going to sit down and tell you the whole reason why they doing everything they doing, why they making decisions that they making, whether it be good, bad, or otherwise. And so I started thinking, how many people think this way? I'm like, Dante, how many people think this way? How many people really believe that their mother treats their grandchildren better than they treated their children? No. We are going to treat our grandchildren exactly the way we treated our own children. Whoever we are, that's who we are. If we're a good mother, you're going to see it and how we treat it. And I think the beautiful thing about being a grandmother is your child, your adult child, gets to see how you mother.
They have to be able to actually see that and ask the question and not assume, well, she's treating her way better than she treated me, rather than coming to you, like you said before, and actually, well, how were you as a mother to me? Because nowadays, unfortunately, people stop recording their children at a young age so they can view it or see it later on, or the big photo album filled with pictures. Because again, I haven't seen a Polaroid since God knows when. So they don't have those things to look back on and see, okay, here's the stills of how she was, or dad was, or aunt, whoever. It's just once you get to a certain age to remember, of course, the bad things stick out, and that's all that some people hold on to.
And that is one of the things when we had the conversation that I said, you are only thinking about the bad things, but nothing and no one is all bad. Everybody has some good, some bad, and some ugly. We all do. And so, you are totally forfeiting the whole picture by just only thinking about, oh, well, I got put on punishment when I was 7. Okay. Well, why did you get put on punishment? Did you break the rules? Was there rules that you were supposed to adhere to that you didn't adhere to? You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, I just thought it was just so, no wonder these family relationships are not working, because you're carrying these assumptions into your adult life, and it is causing fractures with your parents. And if you have a problem on your job, and the reason why I always use the job is because if you have a problem in your job, you're going to resolve it because it's all about your money, it's all about your bag. But your family life is just as important. You know what I'm saying? Family life, business life is no different. Okay. If you're not successful in your family life, you're gonna have trouble in your business life as well. So it's gonna affect your bag. Maybe not today, but down the line tomorrow.
Down the line, absolutely.
I'm just like, how can people assume that their parents are treating their grandchildren better. No, we're treating them the same way because they're reminding us of them. Our grandchildren remind us of our own children when they were younger. And Dante, you said something that was really awesome. You was like, when you see your mother, mothering your children, you're seeing the real her.
Uh-huh. Yeah. But that, unfortunately, that's the part that also gets overlooked. Because it's not like, because the fact that she's able to grandmother, mother, or any of that, and you get a chance to witness that, one, that says a lot. Because if
It
you was
does.
that, because if you was that pissed or that hard up, she wouldn't even be in the picture. If she was that horrible as a person, as a mother, father, whomever, they wouldn't be there. So the fact that, one, you allowed it and you get to witness it, it says a lot. So for you to go back and to pick out all the bad things that happen, instead of you picking those things out, what you should do is bring them to the table and get some perspective on what actually happened. Like you said, again, we're young, so we're possibly missing the main portion of what happened or why this happened to me or why you quote unquote allowed this to occur. Because I'm not, as a parent, I'm not going to let that happen to my child. And looking at you being a grandmother to my child, I'm pretty sure you're not going to allow them to do the same thing. So what happened when I was 13, 14, or 6, or whatever the case may be? Like, that's an opportune time to bring that up and have the conversation. But it doesn't.
And also, if she's a bad mother, she's gonna be a bad mother. She's gonna be a bad mother to her. She's gonna be a bad grandmother. People's personalities don't change. God does not change your personality. Who you are is who you are. When you see your children when they're little and how they were in their personalities are not going to change. That's exactly who what they're going to be when they become older. They're going to be the exact same person. So our personalities do not change. If she was a bad mother while you were a little, she's going to be a bad mother. Like, I'm going to use my mother. My mom had issues. She wasn't a very, we didn't have a relationship. And when I had children, she wasn't a great grandmother. Because why? Personalities don't change. However you
Or
are,
that.
that's how you are. And so if you're going through your life or if you're going through your relationship, only looking, picking out the bad stuff, then your perception is going to always be skewed. It's
And
going to
also with
always
that,
be.
allow me to jump in here. If you're consistently looking at negative things, you're probably going to look within. Because why are you trained to look at everything bad rather than count the blessings and the things that you do have? Are you entitled? Do you feel as though the good things were supposed to happen? Because bad things are going to happen to you regardless. And those are the lessons that, of course, we need to go off and we learn. Okay, why did this happen? Was I not where I was supposed to be? Was I not doing what I was supposed to do? Being disobedient, being disrespectful? What was the case?
But
Two
even
sides to that coin that people have
even
to
bad
consider.
is a perception. Even declaring something bad is a perception. That's why sometimes things happen to you that you might call bad, but it's really working out something really good in your life. So bad can
Mhm.
also be a perception too. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So, that's why when somebody says, you want me to give you the good news or the bad news, look, just tell me what you need to tell me because your good news might be my bad news. And you might perceive what's bad, I might say is good. So bad is also a perception as well. It all has to have proof. You can't make
Sure.
assumptions. And this
No.
basically what I was thinking about was if you make an assumption without proof, that's the same thing as telling yourself a lie. That means
And
you're going
people do that
around
often.
believing things that are false. There's no way you know what kind of mother your mother was to you unless you can remember when you was in the womb and 1 day old
Hmm.
and 1 month and 3 months and like I said, I can only remember till I was 4 years old. I can remember as far back as 4. I don't remember when I was 3 months old. I don't remember when I was 6 months old. I don't remember anything before 4 years old. I don't remember anything. So how do I know whether or not? And see, my mom was consistent. I remember what kind of mother she was at 4.
Mhm.
I remember how she was at 5, 6. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
you know, you're really telling yourself by assumption, oh, okay, if that's your truth, that's your truth. Is it really your truth? Have you done any type of investigation? Have you talked to your
You
mother?
know, but people who honestly say things like that, they've already made up in their mind. This
Right,
is what happened. You possibly consulted with the wrong person
right.
and concocted a story in your mind. Well, this is how it has to be because you don't want to ask the rightful question to get the answer that's needed.
Well, because too, when we had the conversation, it wasn't a right or wrong. Okay, your
Right.
perception is not a right or wrong. Your perception is your perception. Your point of view is your point of view. I wasn't trying to change his point of view. I just was trying to get him to see that there was more pieces to the puzzle. There was more information that he needed.
Uh-huh.
Okay, before he came to to put with his perception so that he could get to the truth. Or really, before you can even get to the truth, you get to the understanding. The understanding is what
Uh-huh.
bridges the gap. That's what brings it together. And so I
Right.
learned something. All of my adult children, I have sat down with them to allow them to get off their chest whatever it is that they need to say about my parenting. And I get drugged. I I get drugged. And I don't try to defend myself because I just walk in not even I don't even have my own truth. I don't
Uh-huh.
even walk in my own opinion. I just let God be my truth. Period. I don't try to defend myself. I just listen. Unless they say something like way too far out in left field, then I'll be like, okay, now your brain is something going on now. Something ain't right. Wait a minute now. But you have to, and it's a lot of adults that don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear what their adult children have to say about their parenting and whatever happened. You know what I'm saying? And
You gotta deal with that.
I have a situation with my oldest son that I mean I don't really understand it, but it's that's how he felt. As my oldest son, um, we went through a situation where I had quit my job at the federal government, and I didn't. My car was broke, and we used to have to walk to the grocery store, which is probably about 3 or 4 blocks or something, like 3 or 4 blocks or whatever. And
Man,
sometimes you go to the store, you want to get a couple things, you end up with way more bags than you're supposed to. So it's 3 of us. He's the oldest. I think he's like 9. Dante's 7, and then I think that your sister was like maybe 3 or 4 or something like that. So we're walking.
something
We
like
got
that.
the bridge. Maryland has no sidewalks. Okay, we're risking our lives just walking to the store. So, he has this thing where why do I have to carry a majority of the bags? Why can't my brother carry more bags?
Hold
So
on,
we
I'm
have
about to break this whole. I'm about to break this whole thing down in a minute. Just give me one moment. I'm trying to get the
this
map together.
this ongoing thing. So as your parent, I'm saying everybody has to pull their weight. You're bigger, so you get more bags. He's smaller, he gets less bags. His sister, she just carrying one bag, the bread. That's it. I got the bulk of everything, right? So this is an ongoing issue
Let,
problem.
let me let me jump in for a minute.
But wait,
Let me,
let me finish the story. So this is like an ongoing thing. So from a parental perception, my thought is you should be glad we got some groceries. Think some people hungry. We don't have a car. What do you want us to do? We're a family. You can't carry.
I gotta let me get in here. Okay, so let me paint the picture for those who live in Maryland. Okay, preferably PG County. We lived in Oxon Hill at the time. This is like This is like early 90s. So from Oxon Hill, 1.3 miles away, there's a Safeway that's there. Mind
Is it
you,
still there?
it's still there. It's still that plaza still. There's some stuff missing, but it's because I was just there recently, like a week or two ago. But yes, it's still there. So again, but
But
what's not there?
you finish my story, Dante.
No, I'm trying to paint the picture. Got to paint the picture. So there's a section go on the way walking because again, there's no Uber. The buses are horrible, and catching a taxi when you don't necessarily have the money to do so, it's kind of out of the question. Now, 1.3 mile walk is obtainable. It can be done. We did.
It's not no 1.3 miles.
Okay, here we go. 1.3 miles, just look it up.
That's kind of far.
But again, we still did it. The walking part wasn't the issue. Now, you have to understand that at that time, we were children. Now, my brother, naturally, he's taller than I am. I'm shorter. And then you have my other sister, not the one that y'all see on a consistent basis, not Naya. My other sister, she's the smallest. Now, what you have to understand this is when I'm carrying them bags, they're scraping the ground. Me. So a lot of times,
his experience.
So when we're walking and the bags are scraping the ground, and we got another half a mile to walk, and then we got to walk up 3 flights of steps, and we got to condense more stuff in the bag to make it's not working. So of course, my brother, taller, stronger, he would have the bulk. I got to cradle some of the stuff.
I have the bulk.
I mean, we cut you out. We know you got the bulk, yes. But as far as the kids go, yes, he has out of the children, he has more than what me and my sister have. Right. To which he hated bags. He hated carrying bags. He hated going to the store. Rather than like you said, hey, we got to make this 2.6 mile walk and then go up 3 flights of steps. But we eating that night.
And mind you, there's a lot of other information. The fact that I don't have a job, right? I do not have a job. My finances are limited. There's other information that goes into the reason why we are walking to the store, to the grocery store in the first place. All of that information is totally overlooked. Also, you're not even taking into consideration that I am not divorced. I am a married woman with 3 children. My husband is living with his mistress. All of that information is not even taken into consideration. Where's Daddy at? Why is Daddy not making sure that we can get to the store and get groceries? No. Mommy is the bad guy for making us carry these bags. So that is a barrier. It's a point of contention. It's a point of contention that I didn't even know until my son became a whole adult. He carried this thing. He carried this thing into adulthood. We don't care that mommy is struggling. We don't care that, because see, when people commit infidelity, you're not only do you abandon your children, you neglect your children, you will also abandon your wife. We are still legally married. We're not even separated yet. So that's why the power of perception can cause the breakdown in families, because you're not offering any type of understanding. You're just thinking, why I gotta carry these bags? And what I'm finding is that people are taking these things that happen to them as children. They are never going to their parents, getting any type of understanding. They're carrying this all the way into their adulthood.
Yep.
So that means that if that is your train of thought, that's the way you think, that's going to be how you do one thing is how you do everything. And that's why it's important for you to at least have a conversation with the person that you got contention with, if at all possible. Because it's your thinking that has to be straightened out. Your thinking. It's like when I became when I lived in Maryland, I became a CASA. That's a court-appointed special advocate where you advocate for foster care children. And so I had to go through this really long, extensive training. And they would give you scenarios and show you pictures. And I remember this one particular scenario. They showed this house. It was dirty. The kitchen was dirty. It was full of this dirty dishes. I mean, the whole house was dirty. The second floor had a hole in the floor. The living room, it was clothes all over the place and everything. So the question was, would you recommend for this child to be removed from the home? And everybody was like, yeah, look how dirty that house is. Look at all them dishes in the sink. Look at that filth. Look at the hole in the wall and the hole in the floor and this a laundry list of stuff. And she went through that picture and gave us a reason why we were all wrong. And the one that stands out to me the most was the dirty dishes represented the fact that they had eaten.
Oh,
you don't have dirty dishes if you're not eating. So she's feeding her children. She's just not cleaning up. So perception, the power of perception can either make a relationship or it can break a relationship. It's not about who's right, who's wrong. It's not about my way or your way. It's about let's get as much information as we can so we can come to a place of understanding so that we can bridge the gap of communication. So basically what it is that you have to have the ability to see through somebody else's experience. I have to put myself in my son's shoes. It's not about whether we agree, whether we don't agree. That's his perception, that's his experience, and he's entitled to it. My point is, you just can't take your assumptions and your presumptions and run with it and think your relationships are going to work. They are not. They're not going to work. Because if your perceptions are according to your experiences. So how you comprehend things. We don't comprehend the same. That's why men and women, the perceptions are different. Men don't think like women, and women don't think like men. So that means we're not going to act like each other. So you're in a relationship with your dude, and you're trying to treat him like he a woman. When you go talk to him and tell him and all these problems and stuff you have, and that's not like talking to your girlfriend. When you go tell your man that you had a problem,
every 5 minutes,
he's gonna be trying to figure out a way to solve the problem. But you ain't talking to him to solve the problem. You're talking to him just to vent and to tell him this is what happened. He's gonna be trying to come up with a solution because men are problem solvers.
That's why when you get into the conversation with that man, you gotta let him know from jump. Hey, listen, I need to just get this off my chest. I need to vent, and then you go into it. Unless you want, again, like you said, unless you want your problem to be solved one way or another.
So now you're going through life assuming based on your perception, presuming, and then judging. We're not going to talk about how many adult children judge their parents. Oh my God. How you going to judge? When you go into a courtroom, the judge has to bring witnesses. There has to be an investigation. There's a period of time they call discovery where you're discovering new information about the situation, about what really happened. If
Right.
you're not going through life, you need to be going through life almost like you a private eye. When I confronted my husband about his infidelity, I came with proof. I didn't come jumping to conclusions. I didn't come assuming. I didn't come presuming. I didn't even come judging. I came with facts and truth that he could not deny. I didn't go through his personal things, his pockets, none of his nothing. It just was a matter of what? Being aware. Just watching his actions. It just told me what it is I needed to know. So, okay, I'm observing. Okay, scientific method. Scientific method. Step 1 is what? Research. Step 2 is what? Observation. Step 3, now you got to go and you got to prove what you just observed.
Uh-huh.
Is it true? Is it not true? Y'all are making assumptions and you have no proof. And you are tearing your relationships apart, going to that man with no proof.
No.
You don't have no proof. And if you don't bring a man proof, he gonna keep doing whatever it is he doing.
He gonna deny the hell of it anyway.
Yeah, he gonna deny it anyway. The woman on the show, social media keeps saying your husband cheating, and they ain't even got no proof. Now, does his actions show that he is, suspect? Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
The signs are all there, red flags all there. The wife keep going to the husband. Well, social media is saying this, and social media is saying that. And now he don't even realize he just told on himself. But guess what he said? Do you have any proof? And this is how y'all going through relationships. Y'all making statements with no proof. My mother treat the grandchildren better than she treated me. You don't have no proof of that statement whatsoever. And you're walking around telling yourself that lie, and you're creating problems and barriers and putting up walls and all of this based on false information. And you think that your relationships are going to be flourishing and thriving. No, they're not.
Oh, it's gonna really break down somewhere.
You're going to tear up every relationship, especially if you've ever been in a relationship where there's been cheating. If he looked like he cheating, you're going to slam off the handle based on the baggage that you carrying from that last dude. The power of perception. It can either make a great relationship or it could tear up
all the way up.
I cannot in my mind fathom why adult children, the one girl, she was like, when I was 9, I had to watch my brothers and sisters while my mother went out partying. That's a judgment. That's a judge. You judging? Why are you judging your mother? Why are you do what? Maybe she needed to go out and party and didn't trust nobody else with her children, because you can't trust people with your children these days. And you were old enough to watch your little brother and sister, and she just went out and got some steam off. Where is the compassion? Where is the understanding at? We just don't have any for our family.
Oh,
but
no.
yet we want to have these great romantic relationships. Man, not gonna happen. Now, I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm not saying I don't agree. Because why? I don't know the whole story.
Right. That's the main thing.
Yeah. I don't know why she left you in the house to look after. You had to cook and, and make food or whatever. My
No.
children were latchkey children. They had to. We lived about three. How about 3 blocks from the school?
Yeah, Barrett was 3 blocks away, and of course, uh, Beaver was up the road, but the bus
Oh,
let you
Beaver, you
walk
had to
three
catch the
blocks.
bus. The only one that
Right,
went to
but either
Beaver.
way, it was there.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
me
you got
Chicago.
three
Yeah.
children. You got two elementary school and you have one middle school. Okay, they get out of school at 3:30. I get off work at 4:30. Okay, I'm not gonna get home until 5 o'clock. Even if I rush, the latest I'm gonna be
Mhm.
walking through the door is 5 o'clock. So they have to walk home. My youngest is 8. By this time now, she's 8 years old, and she has to walk home. Dante has to go to her classroom. Those two go to the same school, and they walk home together. Then
Right.
after a while, Dante went to middle school, and then she had to walk home by herself. But they all had to go straight home. They had instructions. There's
Mhm.
something for you to grab, snack on till I get home. You go in the basement and close the door because I don't have televisions in my living room. Television was in the basement. You have television in your room or you have television in the basement. No television in the living room. The living room is for living, not watching TV. So you go in the basement. You do not open up the door if Jesus Christ rang the doorbell. You do not open up the door for nobody.
You're right.
So you don't know why your parents were doing what they were doing. Why am I going to waste my time to go try to find somebody to go pick y'all up when you have older children that can look out? The children can kind of look out for each other. I mean, we just, in our culture, we just don't have no sense of family.
No.
No sense of family whatsoever. Everything your mom did was wrong. Everything your dad did was wrong. Everything was horrible. You are not going to convince me that nothing in your childhood was good. You just not going to convince me of that. It is not even possible for every single day of your, even in the movie Antoine Fisher, as horrible as that foster kid was, when they cooked pancakes, he knew he was going to have a good day. Everybody has some good in their lives.
Right.
You just choose to look at the bad. You choose to justify your screwed up feelings, to justify your skewed perception, to justify why you think you right. You are tearing up all of your relationships because you want to be right.
The need ain't great. Being right ain't everything. Because if you're right about everything, what are you learning? What are you what, what, what
Exactly.
are you what are you experiencing?
You don't
Teach me
even
something.
you don't even appreciate the good in your life unless something bad done happen. If you've been in a bad relationship and you finally get you a good man, you appreciate that man.
Yeah.
Life is about balance. It's about balance. Nobody's life is gonna be all good. That's why y'all can't keep believing all this crap. That's why a lot of these social media. I told y'all. I've been trying to tell y'all. Them people were scamming and lying and everything else. Now a lot of these come on here talking about credit and business credit. They getting locked up.
Oh,
They
yeah.
getting
The
locked
one
up.
girl who was filing the fake police reports.
Yeah, the chief of Texas.
Oh,
Matter of fact, right around the corner. The office is like, cause when you came here, you know how when you come from the airport,
mhm.
you gotta come down JFK. That's where her office is, right there on JFK. It's right around the corner from me. Because technically, people when they work on your credit, technically you ain't really supposed to pay them until they finish the job. Technically, a lot of these social media so-called guru because there's no way. Let me tell you something. There's no way as a business person, everything in life is a process. everything. And business is no different. I heard one girl say, it took me 7 years to become an overnight success. You got to work
Yeah.
at that thing and work at it because it's a lot of information that you don't know. Business has a lot of moving pieces. You got all these t-shirt people. Oh, I made six figures. How many t-shirts you selling? You making six figures? You made $100,000. Who you selling t-shirts to? And people believe that because they don't really know how business works. All
Yeah.
these credit gurus and grants don't work like that either. I got certified as a grant writer in 1997. Grant is a process.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you get a lot of times you get denied. Your business has to be structured a certain way. A lot of things have to be in place. Same thing with the PPP loans. Why you think people was lying? They was lying to get the PPP loans because one of the criteria of having a legitimate business, you got to have a business account. If you got 7 businesses, all 7 of them businesses need their own bank account. So that's why a lot of people were forging, information because their business is not set up right. You're not gonna get no loan from nobody. The first thing is that when you go to the bank, the first thing they're gonna ask you for is your P&L statement. You ain't got no. They're gonna ask you for your P&L statement. That's your profit and loss. They're gonna ask you for your income taxes for the business, and they might even ask you for a business plan. Some 3 things you're gonna need. And most businesses that's coming on here organically making money, they don't have no business plan. Everybody was running and scrambling. That's why when I started helping people do their businesses and structure their business properly the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Now everybody running some people. You don't know that your EIN is free. Know why you don't know it's free? Because you don't know business, and you're listening to the wrong people. And perception will cause you to eat negativity. You don't want
Yeah,
to
we
go
ain't doing
through the
that.
process. You want overnight success. You want everything to happen all fast and quick. So that's why you get scammed. You don't want to learn from somebody like me who knows the business. They get online and they talk bad about people that got degrees. But yeah, you got your kids in college. But see, you don't know. See, you're not aware. The ability to see or become aware. Aware.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to listen to nobody that's going to talk bad about college because you want me to buy your product, but yet you want here talking about, oh, I got to pay tuition. Oh, I thought you said don't go to college. So a lot of them scammers are now being, same thing with business credit. You can build as much business credit as you want to. If you ain't got no capital, you still got to pay the bills. When you go into those to get those accounts, they're gonna want to know how much revenue do you make every month? Why? Because we're so used to eating negativity. We're so bent toward the gossipy shows. Who's gossiping? Who talking about the celebrities? Those celebrities is not worried about you.
Not to mention it's reality TV. The majority of that stuff is scripted anyway.
Beyonce not worried about you. She just wants you to
No,
go
quit
buy
your
her.
job.
She just wants you to go buy her stuff. The power of perception. We have got to understand. And when you made the statement, that was the first question that came to my mind. How do you know what kind of mother I was? You was a baby. All you remember was getting put on punishment and getting spanked. What about all the other good stuff?
Again, sometimes in some situations, most people feel as though they're entitled to the good stuff and not the bad.
But the
And
thing
when you're
is
a
that what
child,
you focus on and what you give your energy to grows. And you keep trying to wonder why bad things keep happening to you because that's what you're focusing on.
well, again, we're talking about children at this point. So go with me on this one. You have a child who's not really clearly not experienced in the world, hasn't really been through anything. And of course, when good times are good, they're not really counted because, we don't know anything about counting our blessings. But when the bad things happen, those are things that stick out. Now, we're talking about a child mindset. That child mindset doesn't grow as we get older. We still focus on the same things. when the good times are, it's almost like when you get in trouble, you start praying to Jesus. Jesus, get me out this. Please help me. Help me, Lord, help me. And then by the powers that be, whether it's, you walking in his grace or, the cops feeling nice that day, he lets you off. He's supposed to do that. Now you back 2 weeks later doing the same thing that got you pulled over in the first place. Now you back again. Why does this keep happening to me? You keep doing the same stuff.
I hear
It's that
that,
mindset.
but this is my issue because children are optimists. I believe children are optimists. I grew up watching children really have bad days. Okay, I was one of them, and children always hold out hope, and children are very adaptable. That's not my issue. That's not my issue. My issue is that you are holding on to something that happened to you as a
Mhm.
child. You have now taken it into your adulthood. You have not tried to get any type of understanding, any type of information. You guys often hear me share about my mother. I didn't know why my mother was the way she was. I did not know. So I went to her mother. And when I would go to her mother to ask her, why don't my mother like me? Why doesn't she like me? I'm an amazing person. I've been amazing when I was in the womb. Like, I'm just playing. But why don't she like me? So I would go to my grandmother to get understanding about my mother. Because I didn't want to hold on to a bad image of my mother. I love my mother.
Right.
And most children love their parents. My issue is, why are you holding on to this as an adult? You have no proof. You don't even know the whole story. You know what I'm saying? You don't even know why she did what she did. You never even bothered to ask why. That's my issue. That I'm listening to people judge their parents. And she didn't do this, and she was that, and we didn't have this, and we had to do that, and we was this. Like, for an example, I can only tell my own story. For an example, when I bought my house, I moved from West Philly. My sons were getting older. The neighborhood was really getting bad, and Dante shared a room with his brother, and he didn't want to be in the room with his brother anymore. So I was going to buy the house that I was living in, but I was like, why would I buy the house if there's not enough room? I might as well just
Right.
buy a house so that everybody can have their own room. Okay. So I left in the summertime when school finished. I left in June to buy the house. But it took longer. I went through a 9 month, almost a year process. So a friend of mine at the church, she was like, you and the kids come stay with us. Cause it's like it's not feasible, even though I'm working, and I make enough money to go and get an apartment, but it's not feasible for me to do that when I'm getting ready to go to closing and get a house any day now. So who knows if it was going to take 9 months. So I went and stayed with her, and then I left from staying with her, and then I ended up staying with my aunt. So we went from
Mhm.
her to the aunt, and then a friend of mine at the church was a property manager. She was like, "You can stay here to, like, 30 days, to a turnaround for the apartment. If you need more than 30 days, I'm gonna have to get a deposit from you." And so, you know, so we had to kind of move around. So it's really a strange thing to be buying a house, to kind of, to kind of like have nowhere to go. Could have stayed in a hotel, not probably could have. So it's like, now it's like, oh, well, you just dragged us around from place to place, and we didn't have nowhere to go. I'm buying a house. I'm buying a house. It's taking longer than I think. Why would I go rent an apartment and be there for 2 weeks, and then the realtor be like, "All right, here are your keys."
Not
You
even
don't.
that. You spending extra money on something that's gonna go towards. I'm not trying to put out no more money than I have to at this point.
And
So
you
if I can
have
stay with
to.
you, great. And again, you got. I mean, I wasn't there at the time. I was with my dad, but I know the time frame you were talking about. I know the conversation that you were talking about. And the crazy
Yeah.
part about that whole ordeal is now he's older and works. in loans and real estate, he probably would understand way better the situation at that time than now than he did then.
Cause it's just like, what? We were struggling. No, it wasn't. I was buying a house. Normally, escrow should take about 90 days, take about 3 months. Mine took 6 months extra. Why did it take 6 months extra? That's the business. That's the nature of real estate. Real estate is very unpredictable, just like everything else is. When you start to move toward your goals in life and your dreams in life, there are going to be challenges. Unfortunately, it would be nice if everything goes smooth. Sometimes it do go smooth. Sometimes it do, but most of the time it don't. And so my point is that you as adults should not be holding on because it's hindering you. I listen to people all the time complain about stuff that happened from their childhood. If it is such a obstacle for you, because let me tell you something, obstacles and challenges are not stop signs. They're not stop signs. They're designed for you to keep pushing through. So if you grew up and your childhood was so horrible and so miserable, you need to be in therapy. You need to be talking this stuff through. Because to hold on, to make presumptions and assumptions and to judge people, and you're judging falsely. You don't even have all the information. And what I found is that when people don't want to like you, they're not going to get the information that they need. We ain't talking about them people. But those are losers. They're not going to be successful. They're not going to have long-term success in anything they do. We're not talking about those people. We're talking about people that genuinely want to be successful. You need to be asking the right questions to the right people to get the understanding so you can move past the obstacle. You can move past whatever the thing is that's challenging you. And if you're going around as an adult and you can't let go of stuff that happened in your childhood, I feel sorry for you because that means you are a miserable human being. I cannot fathom in my mind to hold anything against my mother. We never had a conversation. My mom was not the type of person that was going to have no conversation with you. I did what I did. I said what I said. Eat it and keep it pushing. I don't want to hear it. That's why it was important for me to listen to my adult children and let them get off their chest whatever they needed to say. Long as you be respectful, you can say whatever you need to say. You need to get it off your chest. Get it off your chest. I don't need to defend myself. I don't need to make excuses. I don't need to make justifications because you're my child. Now you're an adult and you're still my child. You're my adult child. I don't need your approval. I don't need your validation. I just simply love you. And I want you to be free. And I want you to be successful. And I want you to walk in your righteous mind. I don't want you to go around telling yourself things that's simply not true. Point blank and period. You can just be surprised the people that's walking around telling themselves lies. That blows me. Like that ain't got that little statement you just made ain't got an ounce of truth in it. And you walking around believing that. So what else are you telling yourself that's not true? That's hindering your life.
Hold on. Let's back that up. What are you telling yourself that you don't have the proof for? Because truth is one thing. Because what a person may believe may be their truth. Do you have the whole story on what you believe? Let's say that.
That's what a presumption is. They don't have no proof. They don't have no proof. That's why these family relationships and these work relationships and these business relationships. And what happens is now your palate is used to garbage. Now you're so used to believing a lie that now you can't even come on social media and tell who's legitimately in business and who's a scammer. So now you gravitate toward the scammers. Now you gravitate toward men who don't really love you. Now you gravitate at work, you know what I'm saying, being a people pleaser because you living your life on assumption. You living your life on presumption. You living your life judging without proof. So I just was like, it can create division in families.
Oh yeah.
It could create major fractures in families. Now we have some families. Now I know some people that had some horrible stuff happen to them as children. But guess what? You still can't hold on to it.
No, you can't.
You still can't hold on to it. You still gotta you got to understand that obstacles are not stop signs. You still gotta push your way through it. And I'm not talking about sweeping it under the rug because you have those invisible scars.
No,
Those
you gotta
scars
talk
that are
about
still there. You got to deal with this stuff. You got
it.
to deal with it. And you got to move it out of the way because this is why people have substance abuse problems. Because they
And
keep looking at
relapses.
the same negative stuff over and over and over again. They keep just looping it in their brain. This was what happened to me. This is what happened to me. This is what they did to me. This is what they did to me. And they just keep looking at it. And then now you drinking and smoking and doing everything else. You got to be careful these days because they are lacing the marijuana with fentanyl because fentanyl is highly addictive and people are dying. You know, I was watching the Bobby Brown every little step. He said that's what happened to his son. He said his son was not into drugs, you know, but he was into this girl, and she had him smoke this marijuana that was laced with fentanyl one time, and now he's gone. Same thing happened to this little young girl. She was like 16. Met this guy. He had her smoke it. She was never into that stuff. Straight A student. Straight A student. You know what I'm saying? So your perceptions are very powerful.
Very
And
powerful.
you have got to, it's almost, it's like your palate, Dante, because your
Mhm.
palate is used to chicken and french fries growing up.
Hey.
Can't get them to eat no vegetables. You know what I mean? So that's the same thing with your perception. You know what I mean? You got to clean your perception, clean your palate, and just only be susceptible to truth, not even opinions. Because I don't need your opinion. Okay? Got my own opinions. Just truth. Facts and the truth. That's it. Don't
Mhm.
eat nothing else. Stop getting on there watching these little gossipy shows because that's negativity. They feeding you negativity. Look how the Oprah done sold part of her network, and look how her network done went downhill. Like she got all these negative shows that feed you nothing but gossip. Most of the podcasts, gossip. They're not feeding you anything that's going to make you grow. They're not feeding you anything that's going to make you think. They're not feeding you anything that's going to make you reflective as a person and say, you know what, I'm gonna work on this thing.
Mhm.
Cause that's a good point. What good does it do you? What good does it do
Mhm.
your life? I ain't haven't seen any good. I see a bunch of angry, bitter adults. Bitter, and this is the kicker. You angry and bitter about something that happened that you can't change. It happened. It's over.
Whew.
It's done.
No, no, because they'll take that as an excuse. Like, and I think that's the part that really burns me up. They
Now go ahead,
know the
close us
issue.
out, Dante.
They know the issue, but yet they won't go off and fix it. But they'll blame their past as to how they are as an excuse. Oh, because this happened to me as a child. You know, that's just how I am. You can fix it. You just choose not to because you're comfortable being broken. You're comfortable where you are because it gets you what you need
But be
for
comfortable
whatever
being
time period.
broke, be comfortable being a failure, be comfortable being miserable, be comfortable being unhappy,
Mhm.
because that's for all the things that come along with when you believe lies. If you want to continue to believe lies, continue to believe lies. But I bet you won't be successful because then you're gonna have to lead a lawless life. Now the only way you're gonna get something is if you steal it and if you be dishonest to get it, and you still ain't gonna have it for long. Like it just blows me how to listen to these adults just hold on to stuff that happened to them as children. Girl, I could tell you some stories and have you on the floor in the puddle crying. But what good does that do me? None.
Mm. Uh, I'll say this, closing out. What you see is only part of the story. Take the time out to gain the understanding. Take the time out to get the rest of the story so you can make a whole decision, not a partial decision based off of what you think you may have or what you think you may know. Do not assume because how a person is, they're not willing to talk. Yes, we deal with difficult people on a consistent basis. Okay, that's fine. But this has come down to you, your mental health, and also your well-being. Because who's to say that because you're living your life based off of a partial assumption, your life could be better at this point. Again, do the research. Talk to who you need to talk to, who is a part of the situation. If you have an issue with your mother, sit down with your mom. If you got an issue with your dad, same thing, sit down with him. Even if you don't know him, find him. If that's a part of you that you feel as though you don't assume, because you sitting back getting stories off people that's either hurt or they don't know the situation, so they're assuming or they're just putting bits and pieces into it. You gotta seek the truth for yourself. As my mother says, you have not because you ask not. Ask the question, get the answer. What's the worst that someone that can tell you is no, or they don't want to be bothered. Okay, all right, fine. But don't let that lack have you move forward and then you blame everything off that. Well, I don't know. I hear this often. I don't know how I'm supposed to be loved because my dad wasn't around or my dad wasn't there. Well, find out why he wasn't around from him. Not nobody else. Find out from him. Go talk to him. Go deal with that issue. Well, I'm sitting back and looking at my mom, take care of my son, and she never treat me like that. Well, go ask her. How did she treat you as a child?
Or
She
ask
might have.
someone. Or ask your aunt. Your aunt saw her raise you. Or ask, your grandmother. Or ask your uncle. They was there. They saw you as a
You
baby.
got it.
They saw how she was with you as a baby.
We
Ask them.
ain't we ain't half-assed in no relationships around here. Ask the question that needs to be asked. That's it. If you things become difficult because people allow them to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. Whatever you conjure up in your mind, what we're not going to do is sit in the corner and think of every scenario that somebody treated you bad. There was some good in everything.
Got to be. Had to be.
Wait,
Had to be.
we've
Had to
all
be.
been through relationships. We've all been through relationships. We've all been through ones that were terrible, horrible, but you learned something from it. What was it?
Yeah.
Oh, I learned he was a liar. He was a cheater. Okay, all right. So what did you learn? Okay, so we ain't talking about him. We're not talking about his character. We ain't talking about how wrong he did you. What did you learn? There's good in every situation to a degree, even death. Probably don't want to hear that, but it's the truth. There's good in every situation. You have to seek it out. You have to
You said
find it.
even
You
death.
have
Did you say even
to say
death?
even death. Yes,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
because
because death can be mercy. Sometimes people don't
because for
realize
some people it's
when
like
people
they
die,
be
it can be
right.
mercy.
They be in there suffering, going
Yeah,
for it. And it's like you keep resuscitating them. Let them go.
yeah, because death could be
Now again,
mercy.
I am not a medical professional. Please don't listen to me because I do not know everyone's situation. But some people do not want to be here because they don't want to suffer anymore.
But you know what? You don't want to go through life either being a zombie. I love horror movies, but a zombie is not the thing walking around like this in the movie. A zombie is a person that has a reprobate mind, that they have no conscience, they have no feelings. Their senses, those senses that you need to perceive with, Their senses are burnt out. They have a I don't care attitude. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Suicide is the final act, but every single
Mhm.
day is an act of suicide when you are not when you are slowly killing yourself. When it's a slow kill, suicide is just the final act. You've been inching your way to the final act every single day of your life when you're not perceiving correctly a situation and you're internalizing everything. If I internalized and took everything personally that has been said to me or about me as a child, I would probably be on drugs right now.
Yeah,
I would probably be
because
an alcoholic.
that's a lot taken in. It's like, how do you cope?
Exactly.
You need some sort of release. You need something.
Yes. And what my relief is truth. I don't care nothing about that noise you making. I don't care nothing about that crap because I can look at your life and tell that you live a life of deception. I can look at your life and tell that you lie to yourself because nothing that you do works. None of your relationships, they don't work. Okay, you don't have good relationships with nobody. You know what I'm saying? So I am not going to listen and believe the negative things you're saying to me because you don't even believe the words coming out your own mouth. You don't believe the words coming out your own mouth. So why would I believe anything that you saying about me? What you say about me behind my back ain't none of my business.
None of
Carry
my
on.
business.
And
It's none of my business. It's
I
none of my
believe
business.
that Kevin Samuels is no longer here today because of the words of his mouth. Your words are seeds. And when you speak those words, a harvest is coming. And when you sow those negative seeds and gossip about people and don't have no compassion and judging people and making assumptions, that stuff is coming back on you, which is probably why a lot of things you try to do don't work because you done destroyed your life running your mouth about things that you don't know anything about. You got to be careful when you put your mouth and the things that you say out of your mouth. And then you hold on and then you spread these lies and go telling everybody like it's the gospel truth. That's what blows me, Dante. That's what blows
Yeah,
me.
no.
You went around telling everybody like this the gospel truth and you got proof and receipts and everything else when you don't have no such thing.
Man, listen, this is an easy fix. The truth bears witness to itself. I think it was Winston Churchill that said the truth will make it halfway. I'm sorry, a lie will make it halfway around the world before the truth barely has a chance to put his pants on.
And that's what it is.
So,
You're so used to lying to yourself that that's all you eat.
uh-huh.
That's all you're producing. You can't produce nothing else. You gotta be careful the things you watch on TV. You gotta be careful the people you listen to. When you're trying to be successful, you can't listen to that. I don't have time to listen to that garbage. I don't want to hear that.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
want to
We
hear
want
your
some crime
opinion. I
documentaries.
want to hear my own opinion. I don't have time as a businesswoman. I don't have time to listen to that. My children are all grown. Bless God, I made it. I survived. I survived. I made it. I can do whatever I want to do in my life right now. I can do whatever I want to do. I don't have time to that. I thank God that every day I get up, I have a purpose in life. I do not have time to listen to nobody gossip and complain about some stuff that happened to you 20, 30 years ago, and you wonder why you are where you are in your life.
Yeah,
It's a book called that y'all need to get. It's called, I'm gonna always give you a book recommendation. I have a huge library. This book is called Hung by the Tongue. Stop eating all this garbage and telling it to yourself as if it's the truth. I'm done.
that's it. All right, so again,
I'm done.
like, share, tell your mom and them.
Like,
Look out for the
share,
Facebook channel.
and subscribe. We will see you guys next Sunday.